All right, and we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Music Talk Mondays. This is a podcast where we talk about all things related to music, whether we be talking about our instruments, our favorite bands, artists, songs, albums, soundtracks, you name it. We talk about all things music related in those fields. If this is your first time, check out my podcast today. Welcome. Thanks for tuning into my live stream. We are broadcasting live as usual on TikTok and on Twitch and on YouTube. So thank you all for joining in ahead of time, and thank you so much for just being a part of this awesome Monday night. I hope you guys had a really good Easter weekend. For some of you who are my regular viewers, listeners, again, welcome back, first of all. But yeah, I hope you guys had a good Easter last week. As you guys know, if you followed me, I've taken Easter Monday off. Just because it is the holiday, the long weekend, so what better way than to just enjoy and relax and just do your own thing, you know? I hope you guys had a really good Easter last week as well on your end. I spent the day with, just having fried chicken with my in-laws and all that good stuff, so that was good. And then I hope you guys had a good weekend this week recently as well. I was pretty much spending Saturday and Sunday, the majority of it, watching WrestleMania. So you can tell from my t-shirt, I'm actually a huge WWE fan, NXT. I'm wearing an NXT shirt, but I really did enjoy WrestleMania this year. It's a lot better than I thought. Despite the pandemic that has happened, last year's WrestleMania, it was taking place at the Performance Center, and it was like an empty building, basically, and it was weird to see these wrestlers just fight each other, and yet it was supposed to be WrestleMania, the biggest event of all time. But going back to that, it was a bit odd to see that. But then when I was watching WrestleMania this year, this past weekend, there was actually a crowd there, and honestly, it was good to see the crowd again. I mean, hopefully there's no outbreaks that occurred during that WrestleMania, but considering it's outdoors and all that stuff, hopefully it's a different story. But it was good to see a wrestling show happen with a crowd, and they were going insane over the matches, over the wrestlers. It was great to see that. So that was my weekend. I was really glad. It's good to get it out of the way. But anyways, so before we get on to today's topic, of course, we want to go over the usual good stuff here. So I have an official website, is EddieLamMusic.ca. If you want to check out my content that I have on there, you can learn more about my bands I'm in, the solo stuff that I do. Of course, links to different interviews I've been a part of, my YouTube channel content as well, including all the musical shenanigans. So my official website is EddieLamMusic.ca, once again. I also got social media. So, of course, like I said, we're live on Twitch, YouTube, and TikTok, which I have. And I also got Instagram. I also got Facebook. And I also got Twitter. And it's all under EddieLamMusic. So that is my social media address on there. So, yeah, it's all under EddieLamMusic. Very simple, very clear, and to the point. And, of course, if you like the content I provided, I do have a PayPal where you can just give me a general donation. So it's paypal.me/EddieLamMusic. So that is my PayPal page. So any kind of donation is always much appreciated from you guys. So thank you guys so much for enjoying my musical content each week, each day. And I'm so glad you guys are here to be a part of this. So for that, I thank you very much for that. I also got Patreon, patreon.com/EddieLamMusic. So if you have any requests of what you want me to do for exclusive content, please let me know. I'm open to ideas. If you want me to do like a nice shout out video, a musical telegram for your loved ones, I can do that on my Patreon. If you want me to just do if you want me to teach you guys how to play certain songs that I've been teaching to people in a more detailed manner, please message me and let me know. I would love to make that happen. Patreon.com/EddieLamMusic. That is my Patreon page. All right, folks. So with that being said, thank you guys again for tuning in to my weekly podcast. So again, it's good to be back. Like I said, I took last week off because of the Easter long weekend. But like I said, it's good to be back here again, and it's good to talk to you guys just about anything music related. So I do have a very good topic that people have asked me about, so I'm going to do that as per your guys' request. So here we go. So we talked, as you guys, okay, If you guys have followed my TikTok channel, you can see that there's a lot of songs that I do teach that are under 1 minute on acoustic guitar, and there's a majority of it where I actually use the good old capo. This is ideal for make it easy on your guys' end when you play music, when you play guitar specifically. So when you play acoustic guitar, I always find that the capo can be your best friend. If say if you play a song that's an E minor, E minor is a very easy chord for beginners, especially. So E minor, G, C, D formula, or A minor, all that kind of stuff. It's easy, but here's the thing: what if you were to play songs that have those chords, but singing wise it's too low for you in terms of range? Well, if you want to play in a different key, or you can do it at a higher key, that's where the capo comes in really handy. Well, let me show you. I'm gonna grab my guitar right now. So this is my guitar that I use. Like I said, if those who've asked me already, again, this is the Wishbone guitar. Wishbone is a Vancouver brand. I'm from Vancouver, Canada. That's my hometown. So big shout out to Wishbone for creating these really amazing guitars. And honestly, I really feel like with guitars like this, it's always important to support your local company, honestly. And everyone always has the usual big mainstream company brand guitars, but I like to support the local ones because they make stuff that's just as good too. And you get a bang for your buck for it also. Okay, so there's two songs that I feel would be very handy to learn with the capo if you're new to guitar and you still want to be able to brag and say, hey, I know how to play this song. I think the capo can be very handy of it. So I was reading the comments here on TikTok. Fox Trap says you should learn your bar chords first before a capo. Yeah, it all depends what your goal is, honestly. But yeah, I really feel like bar chords can be very they are very handy, especially if you're learning some heavy rock stuff. But honestly, though, if you want to do something a little bit different and you can't wait, you want to try modifying things a little bit differently, I think capos are okay in that sense. Again, everything's always up to you in the end of what your goal is as a guitar player, especially if you're a student. Everything is always up to you on your goal and how you want to do it. There's no right or wrong way to do things, honestly, but it all depends what it is that you want. But for me, I decided to just show you guys some easier, more modified ways to play certain songs, and especially if you're a beginner, when you're new to something, then by all means, I say go for it. And so for me, this is where I'm so glad I've actually studied musical theory because it does help me figure out a way around playing stuff using the capo. Because capo is kind of like those things where it changes the key. You're playing chords in the same format, except that in reality, you're actually playing a different key. So let me show you an example. So here's our E major chord. So that is the E chord, right? And so that's how we play it, plain simple. But if we were to put a capo on it, capo on fret number 1, the first fret here. So if I were to do this, here's what happens. Okay, but now here's a capo. I'm gonna play the E chord. So I'm playing a form of an E chord, but the sound is different. So what is going on is that in reality, I'm actually playing the key of F. It's an F chord, but I'm playing in a form of an E chord because of the capo. So this is music theory again, guys. This is music theory talk right here. So the way you know what key it's in, so you go like this. So you're playing the E chord, right? Right. So that's E, but when you put it on fret number 1, so do like a +1, right? So like it's half a step. So you go up half a step. So what is half the step of E above E? It is F. And piano's a good reference for that. But yeah, so you're actually playing F. Just in the form of an E chord, that's all. Yeah, and so if we actually go and go up another fret, that means you gotta add another half step. So Let me just do a little quick tune-up first. It was in tune earlier. And thank goodness for built-in tuners. I'll say that right now. So that is pretty much, so E chord. So we put it on fret 2. Now we're doing one whole step. So it's like it's 2 half steps basically. So with that, now. So that is pretty much, in reality, I'm actually playing what we call an F sharp. It's F sharp major, but of course it's in the form of an E chord because it's all thanks to our magic capo right here. So there you go. Yeah, there we go. Sounds better. Sometimes this happens, folks. What does happen is that guitar can be in tune like maybe like 10 minutes ago, and it can't get out of tune shortly afterwards. But it's all in all matter of just gotta tune it right away before you touch it, because that can happen. Although funny story, I tell you, sometimes it happens like when you leave your guitar and then someone fools around with your guitar and touches it, and then they don't tell you they touched your guitar. And it's all out of tune. That really, really stinks big time. And honestly, I always feel like if someone's going to touch your guitar, they should have the courtesy to ask you before they touch it. Just because guitars are expensive instruments, right? And when you're handling someone else's guitar, you have to treat it like it's your own baby, basically. But, of course, with the pandemic, now we can say it's better to bring your own instruments if you do want to play guitar with other people. Foxtrap says, I play a Les Paul. You don't have to tell me about tuning. Oh, yeah. Yes, that's true. Les Pauls, right? Yeah, I hear some. See, I never owned a Les Paul personally. I've heard some horrific stories about that. So yeah, I hear, I know I've heard about these really interesting things, but I think that's why I never was really drawn to it. But anyways, but going back to our topic, so capo is really handy if you want to play stuff in different keys, but still play it in the same form of a chord. That way, if you feel like you're not ready to play bar chords yet, capo can be your best friend in that scenario. So, I want to show you guys two of my songs that I like to play on, play as for beginners if you're using the capo for the first time. There's a couple of them. So I'll start. So the two of them I actually want to talk about today is Nirvana's "Something in a Way," which you find on the album Nevermind, and Imagine Dragons' "Radioactive." And I've taught my students these, and they really got a kick out of it. They were like, "Oh my goodness, this is so cool! I'm learning these cool songs, right?" So actually, let's start off with Nirvana, "Something in a Way." Okay, so I know, like in real life, what Kurt Cobain did was that he played in bar chords, right? And so I think he would go like I know he tunes it much differently. He does like a was it like drop something? It's not. I think it's lower than drop D, but he tunes it really low. But but I wanted to make this a little bit easier, right? So instead, what I do just to cheat a little bit, I just put the capo on fret number 1, the first fret on the acoustic. So put it right here, like that, and you can actually cheat a little bit. So the 2 chords that you can do for this one is on E minor, and then you can do C. So that actually works that way too. So for me, it's almost like I like to. I'm more about the key of the song, right? As long as you're playing, as long as you're still playing the same key of the song, I think that's totally okay. and pretty much like the rest is all up to you how you want to play it, basically. So yeah, so I think that is very handy. So pretty much like what I do is I just Capo fret number 1. So play your E minor chord. So you go like this: E minor, C, and then just keep repeating all the way through, basically. And then for strumming pattern, pretty much like what I do just to, still have that same groove as the actual recording of the song. I just go like this: down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up. All right. So pretty much, you can do that as well. So yeah, and pretty much when you hit the chorus, even like again, for me, I always like to play songs. It is important to play the songs right, but at the same time, you should try to be a little bit more creative and out of the box, because this is what being musicians should be all about as well. I mean, okay, there's a few different kinds. Obviously, there's ones who like to they're perfectionists who respect how the artist writes stuff, so they just do it as it's recorded. But then there's also the other kind of musicians who like to go outside the box and do something a little bit more, have a little bit more fun with it, play with it, do something a little bit different, make it your own kind of deal. So some people are actually into that kind of stuff. So you're either one of those, and that's totally fine. But you gotta be very careful, of course. If you're gonna be playing in bands, you gotta make sure you and your bandmates talk about this stuff and be like, "Hey, look, I'm the kind of guy that wants to do stuff just a little bit differently, just out of just because I want to be out of the box." Because when you collide with bandmates who are more of the perfectionists, it has to be exactly the way it is. There's a good chance you guys are gonna butt heads. I'm just gonna tell you that right now from experience. It's gonna happen. For me, I'm a bit on the balance side. I'm a bit of both, but at the same time, I feel like there's some songs that should be done the way it is. But then again, honestly, you should never be afraid to go outside the box and do things just a little bit differently. So this is why when I taught Something in a Way by Nirvana to one of my students, it actually worked for her because it's like an easy version of how to play it, and she loves Nirvana so much, obviously. So it's like, okay, well, hey, there is, you can play it in other ways. So yeah, exactly. So pretty much, like in the verses. Now, when you actually do the chorus, though, for example, like this is the way I would do it. You can actually just strum a little bit harder. It's like something in the way. Ooh, something in the way. Yeah. Ooh, something in the way. Ooh. And even the strumming pattern for the chorus too. You can do a few more strokes of it, so you can go like a. I know on my TikTok channel, I just kind of you can just repeat the same strumming pattern all the way through, because that's for more of like beginners who are kind of new to it. But then again, once you get used to it, once you advance yourself more, then go a little more crazy on the chorus. So I would go like down, 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 up, down, 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 up, like that. So that works too when you do the chorus of the song. So again, this is like just my personal way of how you can make that song a little bit more powerful with your own little spin on it, basically. Just for me, I guess I can say this is my spin on it if I were to perform it live, but that it works. It does work that way. So again, going to the verse. That's the verse, and then something in the way. Ooh, then when you go back to verse, then you go. So we go back to that old strum pattern. Down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, like that. So that works too, you know. So if you want to do that, but I always say that I always tell my students this too. When you're at that last part of the song, the final chord to finish off the tune, then you go like this. Then you go, right? Just a nice, nice strum where slow strum. You go, let it ring. Let the crowd love you if you're performing this live. And that's it. So that's one way you can do that. It's just like a good way to indicate that you're done with the song, right? Especially if you're playing to an audience. Or if you're one of those kind of people who want to be a little bit more fancy. Of course, there's always that thing called a trash can ending. I talked about this 2 weeks ago on my podcast. So it would be like... So that also works too. It's almost like, you're playing that last chord. You just do a bunch of strums, and then you just slow it down at the end. So that's kind of like my personal trash can ending if I were to play this acoustically. Like... And if you want to add the closing chord, that also works too. So it doesn't matter how you want to end your song, but kind of, just do it in a way where you can do it to be like, this is me ending the song. Anyways, but going back to the main topic though, Nirvana Something in a Way is something I do teach my beginner students on guitar if they're using the capo. So that song is really perfect for that because it's only 2 chords and it's very simple basically. So yeah, Foxtrot asking, have you ever played an acoustic guitar brand called Blue Ridge? I purchased it over on Martin. I've actually never heard of a Blue Ridge brand before, Foxtrot, but that's awesome that you brought that up. I should check that out and look into that. Thank you so much for bringing that up. I should look into that. All right. So let's review. So Nirvana Something in a Way, if it's your first time and you want to make it an easy modified version of it, this is how I do it. So capo on fret number 1, the first fret on your guitar, and you just play E minor, C. That's the whole song. Like I said on my TikTok channel, that's the entire song. All right, and then like I said, so in the verses, be a little gentle. And then the chorus, go crazy. Right, and then that's pretty much it. So there you go. So that's so if you're to use a capo, that's one of my personal favorite picks. Song picks is Nirvana Something in a Way, using the capo on fret number 1. There you go. All right. So now we're gonna move on to our next song. Another one of my personal favorite picks to learn for beginners who want to play the acoustic guitar. Imagine Dragons, Radioactive. Sorry. Foxtrot is saying half price of more. You are playing on perfect tempo. Yeah, it's actually Foxtrot. The reason why I do my tempo is actually pretty solid. Not to brag or anything, but it's just that because I was a drummer before I played guitar, so I did that first, and then I decided, I'll get into playing guitar. So I am a multi-instrumentalist. I will admit that. So I do play. My piano's always my primary instrument, and so it's piano, guitar, drums, and bass and singing. So those are my main instruments. I have played some other instruments in high school actually, but I'll get into that later on in the Q&A portion of this program. But anyways, so my second song I liked using the capo on for beginners, and it's worked for them, is Imagine Dragons, Radioactive. Now that song is overplayed. I have some personal opinions about that song, of course, but when it comes to learning a song on guitar, this is the song to learn on guitar for my students. And I know there's a couple of ways you can play this song, obviously. So of course, without the capo, if you were to play Imagine Dragons Radioactive, without the capo, I would say, you just play a B minor chord, and D, A, and an E. So if you're not using Capo, that's how you play Imagine Dragons Radioactive on the guitar. Now, say you don't like playing that B minor chord, right? Okay, you're not quite ready for it yet, but you will get there. But in the meantime, you kind of want to try something a little bit different, a little bit easier. So we modified it a little bit, right? So with the Capo, I put it on fret number 2, 2nd fret. All right. So what happens instead, I put it on fret number 2, and I play this in the form of A minor. I'm still playing B minor, but I'm doing it in the form of an A minor chord because that's what the Capo does. It helps you change the keys. Right? So that is still B minor. Without the Capo, that's regular B minor, right? So put the Capo on, make life easy. A minor, I'm playing a B minor chord. So in this one, okay, so in this one, because all thanks to the Capo on fret number 2, now I go like this: A minor, C, G, and then D. If you want to add a little bit of a D suspended there. So that works too. But when you do Imagine Dragons Radioactive, that's how you can do it if you are not quite ready for B minor yet. So this is going to be very handy when you play this song. So A minor, C, G, D. And that's the whole song all the way through, honestly. But of course, I make my strumming patterns just a little bit different. So I'll give you guys a nice little lesson on that one. So if you were to play the verses for Radioactive, so I would do the A minor. Okay, again, guys, remember we're on Capo on fret number 2, 2nd fret. So we go A minor, and so down, 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 up, and then we switch to C. Next G. D. And so you just keep repeating it all the way through, right? So that's the verses. And then when we do the chorus, I figured, it's the chorus of the song, that's the main part of the song, so let's make it nice and strong. How do we do that? My preference, I like to go like this in the chorus. So what I did is I go like this. I go down, 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 up, down, 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 up. So just like that. So that's how you can do the chorus of that song. So it's almost like, when you play songs within that kind of speed, when you do choruses, if you ever do songs like kind of speed, this is how I would play the choruses. It's like, make it nice and strong, right? So you go. So basically, when you're playing choruses, add a bit more strums. I think it's really effective when it comes to playing certain songs. And yeah, so a few more. Plus, it creates more diversity when you're playing songs in front of people. Get them grooving. But make them feel let them feel the song, but in different ways. That's just. I'm just making that up as I go along, but honestly, though, it is true. Try to mix your verses and choruses up a little bit more. That way, it's not too repetitive for you too, and that you don't get bored very easily. So there we go. Kekshaws is asking what song this is Imagine Dragons, my friend. Radioactive. So actually what I'll do for my friends on TikTok, I'm leaving my mic here because I am broadcasting this on YouTube and Twitch as well. But for the TikTokers out here, I'll show you guys. All right, here we go. There we go. So A minor, C, G, D. There you go. Now you guys know how to play it. And yeah, so there you go, folks. So that is where I think the capo comes in very handy, is for that. So especially if you guys are in the younger demographic, I think this is the song for you guys to learn for sure. Nirvana is always perfect too. Like I said, going back to Nirvana is something in a way, because I always feel like every teenager has listened to Nirvana at one point. You know, there's always going to be that rocker teenager in your school, and they wear Nirvana shirts or sweaters, and if they love their music, they will probably learn it on guitar. There's a good chance they would. So there you go. No problem, Foxtrap. I'm glad you managed to catch my fingering positions on the guitar. Sorry for the mic being in the way, but yeah, you know what? I like to make things work for people, you know, just because, you know, you should be considerate to other people's needs at the same time, right? Because we all want to learn something. All right, so there you go, folks. So those are my two songs that I teach beginners on guitar if they're using the capo. It's very handy. If you guys do consider buying a capo, they cost no more than $20-something. Okay, so these kinds specifically too. So these ones here, if you ever come across these, you guys have a good look at it. People on YouTube and Twitch land, there you go. So if you get one of these cables that look like this, they cost around $20-something. So go to your local music store, wherever it may be, and purchase it, and it will help you. It's very, very handy, guys. It is very handy. It's like the modifier of all modifiers when it comes to music. There you go. All right, folks. Now that pretty much concludes the today's topic talk of my podcast. So there you go. So I'm going to put this guitar down, and now we're going to move on to the Q&A portion of the evening. I always enjoy this because I love talking to you guys and interacting with you and getting to know you folks too. So let me put this guitar down, and we will do the Q&A portion. Okay. All right. Okay, so let's do some Q&A, comments. So, guys, if you have any questions or comments about anything music related, I'm more than welcome to answer you guys, or at least give you guys my personal insights to the best of my abilities. So that's what we'll do in this portion of our podcast. Again, thanks a lot, guys, for requesting some topics of what you want to learn. So again, people were curious about stuff I like to learn on capo, using the capo on my guitar. So I gave you my two favorite ones I like to teach my students. So hopefully that comes in handy for you guys. I'm really glad to be a part of your guys' life, just talking about all things music related. So yeah, great. Okay, so let's see. I was going to look at some comments on TikTok first, but for all those in Twitch or YouTube land who are watching this too, feel free to type in whatever questions you may have for me, or any comments you just want to point out. And, of course, I will answer it. Oh, Tonka Man is on here on Twitch. Hello, Tonka Man. How are you doing, my friend? Good to see you on here. Hope you're doing well, and hope you had a good weekend. If you're a wrestling fan, hope you watched WrestleMania, because I had a really great time. Okay, so look at the comments on TikTok first. Foxtrap says, my 12-year-old loves Pearl Jam. That is awesome. I think you got to give your son props for being open to that kind of music. I think it's amazing. That Pearl Jam still lives on in the legacy of a lot of younger fans too, and I'm really, really glad that you see lots of young folks that are into rock. Like, although not a whole whack load of them do, unless you're either in the States or in Europe. There's not a whole, at least in my hometown, there's not a whole lot of young folks in my hometown of Vancouver specifically that are into like metal and heavy rock as much. It's just because of mainstream radio, they're not playing it. I'm just gonna be really honest, and this might be considered as a shoot on, as a shoot against our rock stations here in Vancouver. But it's just that they're they're playing it really safe. They're playing like the same old stuff, like Nirvana, Black Sabbath, and Zeppelin, and AC/DC, and early Disturbed, and all that stuff, right? And Evanescence, but they haven't done too much about anything in the what I think should have been played a lot in our radio station, the Warped Tour band. So I'm talking about like Less Than Jake. I'm talking about, of course, Sleeping with Sirens and All Time Low. Those bands, Bring Horizon even, they don't get played in our local rock stations here in Vancouver. So I was really upset about that. I was really disappointed, but I'm so glad for other radio stations that do that. They do their best to make that happen, and that's why I seem to relate more to the rock fans out there in the States, or basically outside of Vancouver, than I do in my own hometown. And it's good to connect with people who have similar tastes as I do, but at the other side of the world. Okay, Foxtrap has asked. Foxtrap says, "Do you have any advice on minor or major scales?" So with minor scales, okay, just a random advice on that. I'm gonna bring my guitar back for this one. Okay. Okay, so pretty much, when it comes to, so if you're a guitar or a piano player, this is good for piano players, obviously, because piano revolves a lot on scales more than guitar does. But here's the difference: major keys is what I call the halfy key. So I just did a little, A major right there. So. Right, so it has that very happy kind of sound, right? A minor key is what I call the sad key. So it sounds like this. So that's A minor right there. So the difference is not just by hearing it. So of course we know the difference by hearing it. So hearing it is, right? We all know that. But this is the one thing: minor and major keys have a one-note difference. A one-note difference. And what it is that it's the third note of the scale. So let's do a major scale again, okay? The A scale. So A, B. In major, it's C sharp. Right? Now in minor, A minor key. So in a minor, it's more like this. So the key, A, B, C. So instead of C sharp, the major scale was C sharp, but in the minor, it's just C. And here's the nice little thing. The difference is on that third note, it's that one half step difference. So major is C sharp. Minor is C, which is half a step down. I just played Jaws just now. But anyways, that's the difference right there. It's that third note. That is the culprit. That is the culprit that's in charge of knowing whether this is a major or a minor key. So there you go. Right? So there you go. And of course, think about all the metal bands that use minor keys. Metallica, obviously. Slipknot uses minor keys. Think about all that. All those heartbreaking songs, heartbreaking ballads in the 90s and 80s and 70s, I guess. My parents' music. There's a lot of minors on heartbreaking songs too. George Michael, Careless Whisper. That's a minor key. Of course, there's some really good songwriters out there who do minor keys, turn to a major after that. So, all depends on the song itself, obviously. But like I say, folks, when you're writing songs, there's no limit to how you want to write it. And I can tell you that because I've heard crazy outside-the-box bands like Mr. Bungle, and of course, in the more recent years, Poppy. Her now ex-boyfriend, obviously, Titanic St. Clair. He was the one that wrote a lot of Poppy's metal stuff that had that really weird outside the box kind of sound, basically. So check it out. I would say check out both Mr. Bungle and Poppy if you haven't done so yet. It's really out there. I love it. So So there you go. So hopefully, hopefully that answers your question, Foxtrap. Yeah. So there you go. So it's always that one note difference, basically, and that's the third note in the scale. Okay. So Tom Command is asking, I got one music question. Do you have a specific favorite song that you like playing when you do your play? In my under 1 minute tutorials. Right. There is one that's coming up that I can't wait to show you guys. It's gonna be good. I'm not gonna spoil it right here, but it's gonna be really good. It's going to involve your not so usual chords too. So this was a little bit more advanced, but I think it'll motivate you guys to want to play these chords more. But in the meantime, I won't give it away. It's gonna come up hopefully sometime this week, if not next week. I already got a few I've pre-recorded already that I'm gonna be releasing. I just launched my tutorial on how to play "Broken Hearted" by Carmen. It's a really cool, catchy pop song. Obviously, that girl in Carmen, she's such a great rapper. By the way, she's amazing, really, really amazing. So yeah. But the ones I released so far, though, Tonka Man, to answer your question, the one I really do enjoy that has been getting so many views already is Because I Got High by Afro Man. It's such a funny, catchy song, and it's so easy to play too. And it's one of the best sing-alongs, especially if you're doing karaoke nights with friends. That is a really fun song to sing along to. But yeah, to play it on guitar, Afro Man's Because I Got High is very it's very easy to learn. Tonka Man, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you tuning in, my friend. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Tonka Man's one of my great loyal supporters who follows me on Instagram and all other platforms. So if you're on Instagram especially, make sure you give Tonka Man a follow. Really cool dude. Awesome. All right. So if you guys have any other questions, please feel free to type in the comment section below. If you're on Twitch, YouTube, or on TikTok, I would love to answer you guys' questions on here. In the meantime, I'm also going to put it out there for you guys that if again, so I announced this on TikTok as well that I'm open to do some video telegram greetings on TikTok as well. I know I mentioned this, I can do it on Patreon, but on my TikTok, I'm doing that. I want to experiment with that to see how it is. And so far, I already did a few musical telegram videos on my TikTok. People have already requested some special occasions. Like one person wanted me to dedicate a video to his cousin who just graduated from the Army, which is awesome. And another person wanted me to dedicate a video to his cover band because they played their 10th gig, which is great. Every band starts somewhere, right? And that's why that deserves a good congratulations of a video telegram. So if you guys ever have any ideas or if you guys have any requests of who you want me to play a song to, who is it dedicated to? Yeah, just let me know who's it dedicated to and what the special occasion is, and of course I will perform that song for them in under 1 minute, and just wish them well. That's the main premise of it. So, if you guys have any more questions or comments that you want to bring up, do so now. This is a good time to do that. This is the Q&A open comment section of our podcast here tonight. So I'd like to hear from you guys. In the meantime, I guess I can just go a little bit off topic away from music just for a little bit. So like I said, I've watched WrestleMania over the weekend, and it was so much fun. I had a great time watching both nights. It was on both Saturday, and also night number 2 was on Sunday yesterday, and so it was lots of fun. I'm so glad to have witnessed that, because usually, when I watch wrestling, it's always been such a, WWE has been such a weak product for quite some time. But I'm glad I caught this year's WrestleMania. They really stepped up their game. Good stuff. And of course, going back to the music part of it, and for our topic here, I really do enjoy it whenever I do see live bands play at WrestleMania, and it's so cool just to see that. It adds extra hype to a wrestler's entrance before they enter the ring. So that's why I always get so excited whenever I see like a metal band play or even a hip hop artist do their thing. To push the wrestlers to get lots of cheers and all that. I think that's great. I think it's cool to do that. I did a topic, of course, on my podcast a little while back about why music is so important when it comes to wrestling and any other sports. It's true. It does create the hype, like I mentioned. It proves my theory that it does help a lot. It does help a whole lot. Well, there you go. All right, folks. So that's pretty much. I think that's pretty much it. I will call it a day today. Thank you guys so much for tuning into my podcast each week. I really appreciate it. Again, folks, don't forget I am open to different topics, whatever you want me to talk about. This topic was based on people asking me these questions on about using the capo on a guitar. So I'm so glad. Thank you guys so much for your suggestions on me touching base on this. And don't forget, guys, I can talk about some various things. So if you want me to talk about some pop culture related thoughts in the music industry, or any thoughts about an album, or any thoughts about about tips about being in bands, my personal insights on that, or songwriting, let me know, guys. You can message me on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram, send me a message, and let me know you want me to talk about whatever topic. And if I think it's good for the show, then of course, I will do the best of my abilities to give you my personal insights about that topic, and then we can go from there. And don't forget, guys, it's all because of you. You keep me going to make this podcast such a really cool thing, just to hang out with you guys. I'm not all about the big numbers of how many viewers I get. This is more about just being. This is like the only opportunity I've had the chance to just sit down and just talk to you guys and just have a great time. And like I know I mentioned this before too. It's been a while since I've done piano live stream as well. And to be quite honest, it has been extremely busy on my end, personally speaking. But I'm really glad at least I got the time to record stuff and publish it on my YouTube channel. If you guys haven't followed my YouTube channel yet, I did a metal remix of a Hannah Montana song. Everybody Makes Mistakes, or I guess officially it's called Nobody's Perfect, but everyone knows it as the Everybody Makes Mistakes song. So feel free to check that out. It's on my YouTube channel. I really appreciate that, and just give it some love, showing me some support. And so far on my YouTube channel, we've already reached over 300 subscribers already. It's unbelievable. I'm just like, I can't believe it. It's so crazy. It's but like I say, but I do my podcast here just to talk to you guys and just hang out, and I think it's really cool. I think it's really cool just to get to know you guys, and we just get to know each other and just chat about our love for music. I think that's the reason why I do this podcast each week. I think it's a really cool opportunity to do this with you guys. Okay, folks, so that's about it for me today. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Again, my official website is EddieLamMusic.ca. That's my official website. My social media platforms are Twitch, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. It's all under EddieLamMusic. So give me a follow, give me a like, send me a message and say hi. And let's connect. Again, paypal.me/EddieLamMusic is my PayPal website if you want to donate however much you want. It's all up to you, but your donations are always much appreciated. And if you give me a donation, of course, I will give you guys a shout-out on my next podcast, and we can go from there. All right, folks, thank you guys so much for tuning in. My name is Eddie, and I hope you guys stay well. In the meantime, let's stay in touch, stay safe, and, of course, let's stay awesome. Have a great night.